Welcome into the DNVR Rockies Podcast, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. New customers, when you sign up using promo code DNVR, you use code, if you sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook, sign up using code DNVR. Place a $5 pregame money line bet on the NBA playoffs. And when you win, boom, $150 in bonus bets, and you get it instantly with code DNVR and with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. I'm your host, Patrick Lyons, and joining me today in studio for the first time, Joelle Milholm of Purple Row. What's up, Joelle?
How's it going, Patrick? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we had a good time watching the game. Figured it out. We went through every single channel.
We had a peacock dilemma.
Yes, we watched every channel for 10 minutes just to make sure that, this wasn't it. And then, we turned off the Discovery Channel, and then we went over to National Geographic for 10 minutes. And then eventually we finally caught the final out of the Phillies Rockies game.
Yeah.
Peacock.
Second, third inning.
Yeah, we were able to figure that out. So that was good. We'll talk playing with Joelle, great writer for Purple Row, great fan, great everything. We'll have a great conversation. But most great conversations on our show usually start with Suzie Hunter. So let's get her in here. She's down in Philadelphia at Coors Field 2. The Revenge of Joe Girardi, we decided, perhaps? I think so. They're at Citizens Bank Park. Suzie, what's going on? How you doing? I'm glad you didn't get blown away entirely with that gale force winds there on Saturday.
Yeah, it was exceptionally windy. Some stuff was flying all over. There was garbage all over the field. I'm not talking about the game. It was actual garbage.
Yeah, we saw the wind in action a little bit.
I got a laugh in the press box.
See, here I thought you were at a Wawa because I saw a lot of white and a lot of red behind you. I figured maybe that's where you were, but no, you're in the press box. Okay.
I got to say, the best thing about the Phillies press box, they might have the best food in baseball.
Really? What were some of the offerings there?
Well, everyone who's anyone has heard about the ice cream, and I got to say, it's incredible.
Soft serve, or are we talking like, scooping it from the barrel?
Real ice cream.
Really? I had not heard of that.
Like, not just like Rocky Road. There was a cinnamon bun ice cream. Chef's kiss.
That's wild. Now, I know one of your goals going out there, besides getting some inside scoop, having some one-on-ones, which we will see later on in the show, but you were also hoping to at least tie Mike Jasperson's cheesesteak eating record. Suzie, you were there for 48 hours. Hopefully you were able to keep pace a little bit. Were you able to eat 10 cheesesteaks the last 2 days?
What if I told you I ate 24 cheesesteaks in 2 days?
Let's go. No, you wouldn't be on the show right now. If you've eaten 24 cheesesteaks in your life, I don't know if you'd have been able to get ready for this show. That's wild. Yeah, going back to the wind, we saw it a little bit take place. Brian Serven pretty much got all of a ball, and then Kyle Schwarber very nonchalantly put it in his back pocket, caught it. That was a hopeful moment for the Rockies in a series that they lost 3 out of 4, couldn't get a win, couldn't get a draw even on Sunday. It wasn't good. But again, you've been able to have a little bit of fun there, which is nice. And the relievers, it seems like they can't avoid some kind of, maybe not injury, but some kind of wackiness. Pierce Johnson and Daniel Bard both had some wild stories from their time in Philadelphia this weekend, right?
You know what? I heard from someone in the bullpen that Bard was hit with a pizza box, and there was pizza in the box. So there's just pizza all over the bullpen. It was a crazy scene, apparently. But when I was walking out, I did, lap around the ballpark on Saturday. There were some absolutely hammered, like 24-year-olds, Phillies fans. They were yelling at Pierce Johnson. So I'm like listening in. I'm like, okay, like what are they yelling about? They were yelling to him about how much they love him. They were like, oh, we love you, Pierce. You're the next Nolan Ryan. You're the greatest. Like they were just like loving him, which is so funny. Yeah, it was really weird. I was like, okay, what's the scouting report? And they were like, oh, he's got a great barber. Look at that hair. I'm like, Pierce Johnson doesn't have a barber. He's got flow. He doesn't have a barber.
Wow. One World Series appearance in like 15 years, and all of a sudden, Phillies fans are like positive. We hope you do well, not enough to beat our team, but I hope your performance was at least par for the course. It's just very, very random thing to be shouting at. Exactly. Here comes the pizza, Will says in our chat. Glad Bardo was okay and no one threw a battery at him. Instead, They let the
what?
wind take this pizza box into him.
I mean, I have known this my whole life, but Philly fans obviously have a reputation for being, aggressive. But it did not sound like they were terribly mean to any Rockies this weekend.
Now, I want to ask you about the wave, but I'm going to ask Joelle first. Joelle, the wave, yes, no, or depends?
I think I'm more indifferent to the wave.
Okay.
If people need to do it to go to a baseball game and be excited, that's fine. That's fine.
So, Suzie, why did Phillies fans need to do the wave? They were doing it the other day with their pitcher on the mound, right?
They did it twice yesterday with their own pitcher on the mound. And, I mean, we see that at Coors Field all the time. Amateur hour. That is not the time to do the wave when your pitcher is pitching. But they do it anyway. But I got to say, it seems like the wave is having some trouble picking up steam, maybe because these games are so fast.
Ooh.
That's my dad's theory. My dad and I were talking about it because he drove me to the game. And, yeah, that's his theory.
Yeah. No, my buddy Andy texted me that same thing. Is your dad and my buddy Andy the same person? Andy?
My dad is Andy, so yeah, I guess so. I guess you're texting my dad.
Oh, what do you know?
So, tell him to crack a window in the car. He's in the parking lot.
Oh, yes, my dad's been in a similar predicament once or twice on a road trip. Now, Phillies, we got both of these games in. It looked gorgeous there. Although there was at one point in the game, I think when Profar was hitting on Sunday's game, where a cloud blocked the sun and it got dark all of a sudden. It was very strange. But so the weather seemed really great. A photograph from the press box looked amazing. It was almost a Colorado Coors Field sky. But it wasn't necessarily going to be that way. And so it was hard enough for us to find the game on Peacock on Sunday. Saturday, there was kind of a little bit of a mix-up as well as far as the time, in a good way as far as changing the first pitch time, right?
Yeah, they moved up that first pitch a whole hour on Saturday to avoid the rain that was coming into Philly that evening. And I got to say, they timed it perfectly because everyone was out of the park by the time it started pouring rain. I was just about to open the car door when all of a sudden the rain just came down. So listen, they nailed it with the forecast there. You never hear about that happening.
That's wild. Yeah, I know you've got a chance to catch up with a bunch of the guys in the clubhouse and in manager Bud Blach. What have you noticed? And you've covered a couple series already on the road. What's the vibe like now? Rockies are, of course, lost today's game 9-3. They fall to 6-17, tied for the worst 23 game start to the season. That 8-game losing streak still very much lingering because they won one game and they've lost 2 since then. What's the vibe been like at the clubhouse there on the road?
Yeah, it was definitely quiet in the clubhouse today, especially after the game. A little bit of a roller coaster because they came in on that 8-game losing streak, rather. They won that first game in Philly. Vibes were so much better. And we're back on the decline again. So yeah, very quiet clubhouse today.
Yeah, no, that's definitely rough. And the Rockies have had, pretty good luck against the Phillies in Philadelphia. As we see here in the chat, it seems like every time they go out there, Charlie Blackmon usually has a couple home runs. We unfortunately didn't get a chance to see that. So ring the bell, as it were. All right, let's end on a high note, on a silly note. Joelle and I, we were talking about, of course, still got to get everybody's reaction about the Dinger attack, and of course, the Philly Fanatic was kind of front and center all over Peacock, right?
It was all over Peacock. Yeah. So we were wondering, Suzie, if since you're the Philly insider, has the Fanatic ever been assaulted or an attempted tackle been made on him?
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised, but nothing that I know of. I will say it was his birthday party today, so that's why he was all over that Peacock broadcast.
True.
It was a whole thing. There was a plot. There was a DeLorean, the car from Back to the Future. Whoa. It was kind of crazy.
DeLorean. Wow.
Right?
Did he get out of the DeLorean?
Yeah, he rode into the park in it.
Wow. Was he wearing a Marty McFly vest as well? Like, how far did they take the Back to the Future stuff?
He was not. Okay, here's my understanding of the plot of the Fanatic's birthday. So all the mascots came in from around town. Not Gritty, though. Rude. And all the mascots are here. But then there were these, weird robots, these giant robots We're like, okay, who are they? Oh, they're the Fanatic's friends from the future. So I guess the Fanatic was coming back from the future in the car from Back to the Future. It was wild.
Woof.
Wow.
Yeah, real stretch there. Well,
Yeah, that's a stretch.
yeah, I'm thinking their PR department, communications, they're not as good as the Rockies. That's the bottom line. That's what I'm thinking is going down on that. Suzie, thanks so much. You know what? We weren't sure, and I know you've been waiting for the final decision from up above. They put it in my hands, and I was on the fence. But after today, I think you've earned the trip to Cleveland. So yes, you should go to Cleveland from here, cover the Guardian series, and have a blast in the Paris of the Midwest.
Hold on a second. Before you let me go, I do want to give you an update on Senzatella.
Oh,
Ooh.
That's right. Yes. So yeah, a lot went down, and also nothing went down simultaneously today. Yeah.
Nothing happened. So Senzatella was scheduled to have that rehab assignment in Hartford. That game got rained out. He is going to fly to Round Rock and do a rehab assignment in Texas.
What?
Yes.
Wait.
Because I think that's where the Taupes are going next.
Oh, yes. That's right. Because the Round Rocks, I'm like, wait, they're in the Texas League. No, the Round Rock Express has been like, they were in AAA, and then they went down to AA, and then they're back up to AAA. Okay, yes. They're no longer in the Texas League. I'm like, wow, are we just loaning players out now? Like it's the English Premier League? Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So that'll probably be Tuesday?
Yeah, that'll be Tuesday, yeah. Because, again, minor leagues do not play on Mondays anymore.
Right.
Man, not even for Antonio Senzatella? We can't get an exception?
Not even for Senza. The absolute nerve. But yeah, that's all I needed to tell you. I'm going to head to Cleveland now.
Thank you, Suzie. Have a blast in the Paris of the Midwest.
I will. Thank you.
That's it. We'll see you. All right, we did hear in the comments here from our guy Will. Lonnie Smith once tackled the Philly Fanatic, and it resulted in a dislocated ankle. Here's the question: whose ankle got dislocated, the Fanatics or Lonnie Smith?
Right? I'm gonna put my money on Smith.
I think so too.
The Fanatic is tough.
I'm sure Tommy Lasorda probably hurt himself a couple times. So you know what? Actually, I take that back. We know the answer to that one. Yes, the Fanatic has been attacked.
Yeah.
I think Noah Syndergaard maybe had a little run in once or twice with the Fanatic.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna put. I wonder if he's ever been taken down though. Maybe he's the winner of all the fights.
Could be.
It's kind of hard to wrap up.
Yeah.
He's rather wide.
I would have liked for Gritty to be there as Tiff adds in the chat.
Good.
I mean, Gritty has almost become bigger than the Fanatic in like almost no time.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they were worried.
Well,
I wonder if they were worried about Gritty taking away attention from the Fanatic.
Stealing the shine.
I think any attention that Gritty can give would probably be well received. And what else is he doing? The Flyers are literally playing golf right now. Like,
ooh, shots fired! Wow. we can tell Tiff is a hockey fan there with that comment. No, man, that's rough. Well, the Fanatic needs to stay current. Fanatic is still the Fanatic, but that being said, if you want to be current, you got to get on social media. He needs his own dance. I mean, Gritty got his own dance. So I mean, it's
a good point.
It's all connected. That you've got to stay relevant on the social medias. That's where we are. Social media at DNVR _Rockies, at DNVR _sports, and at the DNVR bar. This is where we're staying relevant on the corner of Colfax and York. The Avs watch party was fantastic Saturday night. Sunday night, if you're watching this live, get down here. I mean, it's still almost morning time. It's not even 2 o'clock. Like we've been up for hours.
Yes.
We've watched a game. We've learned how the televisions work here. We've got a million.
All
so
sorts.
like it's tough.
Yeah.
It's not finding the one remote. It's finding all of the remotes, getting them work together, making sure the right games are on television. We always have all the Colorado teams here at the DNVR bar. And if you're a diehard, if you are signed up as a diehard, you get 15% off all your food and drink, 20% off all the gear at DNVRlocker.com, 20% off the tailgates and the takeovers. We've got one coming up on Saturday against the Diamondbacks. I think we're in section 115, $15 food voucher. You get a free shirt, ride to the games, all the Breck Brew you can drink on the bus ride over to the game. So it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We'll have the Avalanche Ale there, of course, on tap, probably celebrating, a lead in that series. If not, maybe they've already knocked the Kraken out. by that point with the amber ale. It's absolutely amazing. The chocolate caramel malts. It's a well-rounded beer. Is it? Are you a big Breck Brew Avalanche Ale or Mile High City Golden Ale? Do you have maybe a particular
I like
favorite?
both of those beers.
Yeah.
I woke up one day. I used to love IPAs, and then I didn't. Like it was
Oh.
gone, and now I like sour beers. So I like the Mountain Beach.
Yeah, Mountain
That's
Beach.
my favorite.
I feel like, and again, with summertime coming, it's still spring,
light.
but like the 70, 80 degree days we had after it having like been winter far too long, it feels like it's kind of summer. Like,
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, jeans, sweatshirt, only 50. My mind is like, it's kind of summer
Yeah,
already.
it is.
So you can transition over to that one
exactly.
as well. It's fantastic. Go to breckbrew.com to find out where you can get it in your area. Colorado company made with 100% renewable energy, breckbrew.com. And a place that you can watch a lot of live sports, not Peacock, Fubo TV.
Not Peacock.
No, not them. But Fubo TV, like March Madness. That's where I was watching all of that. I was watching the World Baseball Classic over on Fubo TV. In fact, go to FuboTV.com/DNVR. In fact, you may have even watched yesterday's spring game on ESPN on Fubo. CU Buffs and Dion doing big things there. The Buffalo Stampede, that was going down last week as well. Nuggets, Avs, Rapids, NFL Draft coming up. Obviously, DNVR Broncos are going to have it covered inside and out. But you can actually watch that over on ESPN and in the NFL Network. All of that over on Fubo TV with over 140 live channels of sports, shows, and movies. Again, hit the link in our description and sign up for 15% off. Absolutely fantastic. It's the place to watch Nuggets and Avs on Altitude Sports. It's Fubo TV. So Rockies lose 3 out of 4 here in this series. Highlights, lowlights from Sunday's game. I feel like I found equal lowlights as highlights, even though the score was far from equal. 9-3 loss to the Phillies on Sunday.
Right. There was maybe about a 10-minute stretch where we were winning 3-2.
Yes.
That was a nice highlight for a short time.
That was when we learned, going down the rabbit hole of all of the crazy things you can look up in sports. Ezequiel Tovar came through. So the Rockies, that was actually one of the highlights, right?
That was a great highlight.
Bases loaded, no outs in the third. They came through. They all those guys on base, all those boys on base, ended up scoring. Ezequiel Tovar got an RBI single to give the Rockies the 3-2 lead. And of course, the rabbit hole we went down was, who is the youngest player in Rockies history to ever have an RBI at Citizens Bank Park? It's now Ezequiel Tovar. But we learned of the 5 youngest players, Tyler Chatwood was the 4th youngest
3,
player to ever have an RBI single at Citizens Bank Park. So that was really great to see Tovar coming through because he's been scrapping, and it's a base hit like that can turn around a season or just break a slump. He was the only Rocky in the line with 2 hits today even as well.
Yeah, I think Chuck might have got 2 when he legged out that last
that's true.
single
That's
at
true.
the end. But
Yes.
otherwise, yeah. And like, that was huge because the only other runs were like from walks.
Yeah.
You know, Daza getting the hit. So, yeah, it was good to see at least one clutch hit.
Yeah. That was a low light, of course. Daza getting hit on the
Yeah.
hand, not wearing any kind of hand protector, which just feels at this point it should be kind of standard. Like the bottom hand, CJ Cron is wearing something now.
Right.
And those pads, again, one of those things to have to go to the clubhouse to ask about, get a photograph of, like how substantial is that padding?
Yeah.
It might not even have to be that substantial to just prevent your hand from breaking or just getting a bone bruise, whatever it is.
Right.
But it's going to still allow you to grip it. It just is going to protect that backside of your bottom hand, whatever it is. Guys are wearing sliding gloves, so that needs to be standard. Nice to see Daza stayed in the game, toughed it out a little bit. That would have been an important run.
Yeah.
If he were to come around to score, he, of course, got replaced. José Ureña, another low light, just really struggled to get out of the 4th inning.
Yeah. And his pitches are just staying up too high, right? So they're just getting nailed. And so he gave up 2 homers and now has 9 on the season, which leads baseball. Not great.
Not
the
great.
category you want to be leading in.
No. Wait, but he's a pitcher?
Yeah.
All right, so I was going to say, if he was a hitter, those
Then
9 home runs would be
that's
good
awesome.
to lead.
Yeah.
But I had to refresh
We
my
don't
memory.
have that either, right?
No,
Yeah, neither one of
no,
those.
unfortunately
Man.
not.
Yeah,
that
that's
was a
rough.
bummer. And then the bullpen, also a low light. Lamet, Blach, each going an inning, giving up 5 runs combined. So now they both actually have an ERA over 8. Blach, You know, he's never set up for success. He's just a long reliever. Get
Right.
in there, kind of,
Yeah.
damage it, eat up some innings. But Lamet, we were talking, and he seems like he's having a typical reliever season where if the game's on the line and the Rockies are winning by a run or two, shut down inning. He's not
Yeah.
going to give up a run. You put him in a game in which they're already down, loses sight of it, whatever that is, and he's going to end up, giving up a couple runs, and that's what we ended up seeing on Sunday.
Yeah. Especially just walking guys too much, and it always comes back to get you.
Yeah, I think, the bullpen overall has been pretty solid. Like,
Yeah, it
Justin
has.
Lawrence and Bretton Suter, they've seemingly been bulletproof all season long.
Jake
In
Bird?
2 different ways.
Yeah,
Jake Bird
he's getting there.
has, after that rough start, he has come back. So many guys will have a rough start to their season, and they're just never able to get their footing. And for him, being out for most of spring training with the oblique injury and then still
Yeah.
making the opening day roster, in a way he wasn't set up for success. On the other hand, Buddy believed in him to be able to kind of bounce back in that way, and he's bounced back
He totally has.
really, really well.
Yeah.
Who have you enjoyed more? Because they're 2 totally different guys, but Justin Lawrence and Brent Suter, have you enjoyed one more than the other? And is it really,
Both.
is it obvious? The answer?
Justin Lawrence, every time he comes in, I'm like, oh, this is great. This is my highlight of every game. Like, the sidearm is beautiful. He makes guys look silly, like just ridiculous.
Yes.
So, it's delightful every time he gets to come in right now.
It's been great.
We're lucky to have him. We're so lucky.
That is a highlight. It's definitely become a thing where relievers have just gotten nastier over time. And it's become appointment viewing. You're right. Where you
Yeah.
go, oh, Lawrence is in the game. I need to sit down and
Like,
watch this.
No multitasking. Just
Yeah, I want to do that. I don't want to need to wait for Rob Friedman of Pitching Ninja to clip this out. Like, I want to say that I was there watching it live and just
Yeah.
be completely blown away. Suter, coming from the left side, a little funky. I mean, lefties are always funky, but Suter does not have that same kind of smoothness. Probably plays to his advantage when there's a guy on base, because as we saw on Sunday, picked off another guy, his
Yes.
3rd of the year. April. It's April, folks.
Right?
Do the
23
math.
games.
That's what?
I don't know how many games he
18?
has. Yeah.
That's 6 months of the season. We're a month in. Like, he's going to break the single season franchise record, which is 8 by Armando Reynoso in the expansion season of '93. He was a right-handed starter too, which was really wild.
crazy.
Antonio Senzatella only has ever had 1 in his over 600 innings pitched with the Rockies, but he's got 3. Only 23 times has a player ever had 4 or more pickoffs in a season. So tied for 24th, Brent Suter already 3 weeks into the season.
3 weeks, 13 innings.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
Marquez leads this roster with 5 pickoffs. So Suter, after having never been a career Rocky, could lead the entire roster by midseason even.
That's like a 1-year pickoff wonder. Yeah.
Yes. We were talking, is it more likely that he breaks the franchise record or even ties and gets 8? Does he get 5 or more the rest of the season, or does he get none the rest of the season?
One of those.
I would say none, just because that's kind of been
Right, the way
The
it goes.
Rockies'
At
luck,
best,
maybe.
I feel like maybe you double, but I don't know how you get
Okay.
to 8. Yeah. I'll put some money on 6.
all right.
Honestly, maybe.
That's it.
Wishful thinking. If we're looking for just any highlight that we can look forward to this season,
Yeah.
Suter's pickoffs. That's
Yeah.
one.
Another one of the through lines for this week. Defense, just not really great. I don't think the Rockies made an error today. I mean, there was the
I
one
don't think
Profar
so.
play they ended up giving a hit to.
Yeah.
But the defense, I know through the first 21 games, so going into Saturday's game, Rockies had given up 18 unearned runs. That's the most that they'd ever given up in 21 games. So the
hurts.
defense has really been struggling. And that's something that the Rockies have always had as a strong suit, is the defense bailing
Yeah.
out guys. I think that's one of the reasons why people hearing that, oh, the bullpen's been really solid. Like, every time I turn it on, they've given up 4 or 5 runs. Yeah, but 3 or 4 of those are unearned, and that's
Yeah.
defense not helping out. So
Yeah.
the defense has been, it's definitely has not been as good as I think we were all expecting it to be this year.
Right? Because if you look at each player individually, they're good defenders
yeah.
on the whole, and so it's just a weird. I don't know. If once things start going bad, then it just everything falls apart, kind of thing.
Yeah.
If we get back on a roll, maybe it'll get together. But yeah, you just can't have that.
And McMahon has been a player. I mean, he's
Yeah.
off of third base, so he's back now. But he was mostly at second base, and he can be streaky defensively.
Yeah,
like last year,
he's totally streaky.
He was started off really slow defensively, making a bunch of errors before kind of righting the ship. So you got the 21-year-old shortstop. So just in general, the defense has been disappointing, and we saw that in Philadelphia as well. It's been rough. We talked about Saturday, the wind there in a 4-3 loss, second consecutive loss we had there on Friday and Saturday, both 4-3. So windy, as we talked about with Suzie, the pizza box hitting Daniel Bard. It might be a little surprising that the Rockies fans have been polite, doing the wave, during their own team, not attacking, like James is pointing out in our chat that maybe Spilly once attacked or stole something from the Fanatic. Spielberg's
I feel like
loves
I remember that.
mascots.
Yes, and
He's a
then
big
the
mascot
Fanatic
guy.
attacked him with so much popcorn and just destroyed the
The
broadcasting
whole booth.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was just like popcorn everywhere. So I think there was a Spilly
That
Fanatic
would make
incident.
sense. Yes. But the Philly fans, the Philly Fanatic, were very polite this weekend in general. But Suzie did sit down and ask Bud Black a little bit about his experiences in that rowdy crowd in Philadelphia.
Buddy, you've been to Philly a number of times.
Yes.
What is the wildest thing you've heard from the stands?
Corey.
Well, yeah, I live non-repeatable. Honestly, non-repeatable. I can't give you anything less than the best comments I've heard, and they're not for air. They're not for this type of content. Sorry. But it shows the passion. This is a great sports town, isn't it? It's a great sports town, just like Denver. Usable.
Usable. It was usable. He brought it back around, tied it into the Denver sports
He
fans.
did. That's
But
good.
he is a riot.
Class act.
The low light from Saturday's game probably came in the third inning. Kris Bryant pulled. Eligibility Montero comes into the game, and then he was taken out immediately after that for Moustakas. I think that was more about the matchup in general. But the sharp pain, the prognosis after the game, sharp pain for Bryant in the SI joint and glute area. That's SI joint is basically like where the pelvis and the lower spine comes together. So does that mean back injury?
I think that's classified as a back injury.
Yeah, kind of a back
Just try
injury.
to say a bunch of letters so that people are like, okay, that doesn't sound as bad, but it's a
Yeah.
back injury.
Sacroiliac.
Right?
That's basically the word. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, it was only
Right.
that? Okay, got it. And then you do a quick Google search, and WebMD says Kris Bryant still has back injury. You're like, WebMD? How'd you know what I was looking for?
That's just the default, unfortunately, up there.
It is, unfortunately. So that was a bummer. He's day-to-day. That kind of put the Rockies in a jam there when Daza got hit by the pitch because your bench is not short. Can't use Diaz necessarily just yet. Can't use Bryant, and so the only natural substitution was Trejo going out to second base and Castro going into center. But
Yeah, and then that leaves you
tough.
with one person on the bench. It's a weird
Montero,
spot.
who still
Just
just
Montero.
doesn't get a chance to play. What are your thoughts on that as far as playing the young guys? And, kind of dealing with the growing pains. It's been explained to me, and so I think I understand it better. But I feel like the argument for playing Ezequiel Tovar and continuing him at shortstop is the same argument of why you should, live through Eligibility Montero's growing pains defensively at third base. Where do you stand on playing time for the young guys? Do you think we'll see it soon? Should we already be seeing it already and just say 100 game loss season, 110 game loss season? Who cares? Let's see what these young guys got. Where do you stand on the spectrum there?
I feel like we should go all in on playing the young guys because, why not? I think I just did the quick math. Could be totally wrong, but if the Rockies stay at this pace, they'll be 57 and 105. So not great. You're not winning. Why not play your young guys, especially Montero? He has a high upside. I know he's not the best fielder, but he's got power. Rockies need power. And if you bench a guy after he makes some mistakes, I get it. At one point, it's professional baseball, but at the other point, when you put him back out there, he's going to be like terrified to make a mistake, and so much of it's mental that I'd be worried that he's going to psych himself out now.
Yeah, it's true, and
he's got to have space.
Yeah, and he's not getting playing time either. So if at least he were to go back to AAA, you go, well, he can work on that and make that adjustment. And I think he probably will. You know, Grichuk has been rehabbing in Albuquerque, so I think Montero will probably be that odd man out and go down to Albuquerque. You know, work with Jordan Pacheco and Pedro Lopez in that staff, and just try to figure that part out. And then even if you can't figure it out, you know, you got to hope at some point, you know, in the summertime, maybe even early June, Bill Schmidt can kind of, you know, get something done sooner than later. CJ Cron gets dealt, and now first base kind of gets opened up. But then you still got Michael Toglia that you want to play because he's so good defensively.
Right.
But then, you know, again, DH, we just got to hope that, you know, Chuck can still be, you know, solid in right field. I mean, Bryant maybe goes back to left, but now you got to trade Jurickson Profar.
Right.
A lot of veteran type roadblocks, unfortunately, get these guys the playing time that they not only need, but I think deserve to get. And the fans deserve for those players to have that opportunity and see what they've got.
Yeah. It's much more exciting to go and hope that you see a breakout game from a prospect than a regular game from Moustakas or even Cron. And I love Cron. He's been great, but we have to look towards the future. So if he can be dealt for something, that's awesome.
Do you like Cron?
I love Cron.
Oh, I got the Cron Zone shirt.
Yes.
There you go. Setting you up there.
As soon as I wore it, though, he didn't get a homer, but it's fine. He's got 5. He's doing all right.
That's true. He's got 5. Freeland gave up 3. 2 to Castellanos, who did not have one. That was kind of a theme, right? Cody Clemens homered for his first time and got his slugging percentage over his batting average. It's the first time I've noticed a guy with identical slugging and batting average since my playing days. I was
mine
never
would
a
have been the
singles
same.
guy.
Yeah.
Pure singles. I've seen the batting average on base percentage. Daza had that for a while.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or rather, Tovar had that for a while because he wasn't drawing any walks, but still. Near quality start, 6 innings pitched, gave up 4 runs. His ERA is now over 4, but so much of that had to do with his start against the Pirates and just having to eat up innings and the defense not, helping him out. And it was just a lot of singles against the Pirates there in that game. And, you let the defense off the hook, but it's a shame after not giving up a run in his first 2 starts.
Right.
Now you go and look and you say, hey, that's a typical Kyle Freeland, like a 4.3 ERA. All right, that's an okay start, but it feels like he's just been so much better than that, though.
It does.
So much better.
It's been that feeling like, oh my gosh, maybe he's back to, like 2019-ish.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Early lead on Friday in the 4-3 loss. Ryan McMahon with the first inning home run, his 4th of the year. Noah Davis was really good yet again. I want to ask you about when Antonio Senzatella comes back. Is it Davis? Is it Ureña? I think I know your answer on that. But let's hear from Noah Davis himself about how his start in Philadelphia was, and just his unique debut on Pitching Ninja.
First of all, first couple of starts in, how are you feeling about it?
Feeling pretty good. I feel like I've been able to go out there and attack with my best stuff, try and get my stuff over the plate, and kind of see what happens. Things have been working out so far. Just looking forward to keeping it rolling.
Yeah. You were in a pretty tough situation the other day, but still got through it, still kept the Phillies quiet. Tell me about that last start.
Yeah, I mean, that 4th inning got a little tough, wasn't a huge fan of the balk, but just kind of lost it for a second, but I felt like I did a pretty good job of regaining my composure and making some pitches when I needed to and kind of limiting the damage. So kind of taking it as a learning experience and trying to kind of build off of that, hopefully have some cleaner innings moving forward, get a little deeper into games.
Yeah. That was also the inning where Buddy got ejected. So, what was it like for you to be on the mound seeing your manager fighting for you guys?
Yeah, it was awesome. I thought it was a questionable call. I saw what he was seeing, and it always feels good to know that he has your back out there and he's going to go out there and fight for you. So I appreciated it. I think we all appreciated it. pretty important time in the game, you know, coming up bases loaded right there. So big time in the game, big time for him to step up for us.
Yeah. In that first start of yours, you kind of almost got decapitated. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really realize how close it was until I went on Twitter and saw the video afterwards. But yeah, pretty close call. Got pretty close to hitting me in a pretty bad spot of the head. So lucky we got out of there with just the hat and the hair. But yeah, just, I don't know, kind of one of those crazy plays.
But you made Pitching Ninja.
Yeah, I did. That was something I've wanted to do for a long time. Not exactly the way I wanted to do it, but you know, I got one of my actual pitches on there later, so I'll take it. I'll take it for what it is.
That makes it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you so much for chatting. I appreciate it.
We've seen our unfortunate share of pitchers getting hit with a line drive back up the box. I don't think I've ever seen a guy get hit in the back of the head, right?
No, never.
That was weird.
That was so weird. Just a weird twist, but yeah. And if you got it hit, I don't know if you're gonna get hit. If you want to get hit in the front in your face or in
Is
the
it
back
better?
of the head.
I mean, we get the spine going on in the back of the skull.
Either way, it's really scary. I guess in the front, you got the chance that your bill,
Yes.
right, is gonna block it, and maybe that's better. But I'm so glad he's okay. That was close.
Yeah. Over on the DNVR.com is an unlocked article all about Noah Davis and how his whole career up to this point has been, you know, left of center. He dreamed about his first pitch, you know, being in the majors. It went great. You know, slider to Cody Bellinger. Second pitch, he didn't think that far ahead, he said, which was something. You know, had to wait a couple weeks for his debut. A guy who got called up after him, pitched 6 times before he finally played on the final game of the season. Not exactly in a ballpark that he was as fond of for a kid from L.A. You think he'd be excited pitching at Dodger Stadium. Not as much. His whole career has just been kind of left of center. Take a look at that article. But Bud Black did get ejected for the 35th time in his career. 10th time with the Rockies. JT Realmuto didn't get hit by a pitch. And it seemed like the umpire staff just didn't want to review it because the Rockies didn't have their review. So he said, yeah, maybe you're right, but I'm not going to review it. And Buddy went off, rightfully so.
I think that was great. I was totally cheering on Buddy to just give it to him because that was awful. It wasn't close.
No.
He just started to walk, and he just let the player dictate the game. It was bonkers.
It's amazing how when you go back and like watch footage like that, even in like real time, you see it and you're like, oh, clearly the body language of the hitter is like, right? Not like, I know it hit me. I don't need to look at you. We all know it hit me. I'm going to first. He's like, right? Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I'm going to go. Like, I just convinced you by looking you in the eye. You're not going to tell me I didn't, right? Okay, cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're full of it, JT. You are full of it.
And he won.
Brad Hand blew the save on Friday there against his old team, unfortunately. But the Thursday win, let's get into that. Ryan Feltner looked solid, 5 2/3 scoreless innings. Longest scoreless outing of his career. Walked 3, gave up 3 hits, but struck out 6. And you say this is kind of the guy that you would hope that he would be. I know Daniel Bard talked to me about Feltner at the beginning of the season. Said more people should talk about this guy. You actually wrote about him recently about his reckless confidence.
Right?
I like that.
Isn't that the greatest phrase?
It is.
Because you want your pitcher to just be ridiculously arrogant, right? And just taking on batters and punching them in the face, and like that's kind of what he decided. Like I'm gonna have reckless confidence, and then look what it does. Like it just gives you that edge. I love him. I'm so excited about watching him. And then I think Justin Lawrence, even after that game, said something pretty like he just comes in and he's radiating confidence, and I think he's gonna be great. I'm so excited about Feltner.
Yeah, he's kind of been a sleeper guy there at the back of the rotation again. If he was just a number 5 starter, you'd be really excited. And the Rockies almost need him to be a number 3 starter. Almost
three right now.
Immediately.
Yeah.
He's almost the number 2 after Freeland. You're like, okay, who do you want in a big game after Freeland? Right now, today, as far as healthy guys, it would have to be, Ryan Feltner. And then after that, maybe it becomes Noah Davis. Didn't ask you. Now's the time. Senzatella, when he comes back, I mean, is Ureña the guy that you got to just say, go to the bullpen, be a long reliever? Maybe you're only going 1 inning at a time, but Noah Davis deserves a spot in the rotation. Do you feel that way when Senzatella comes back next month?
I 100% feel that way. I'm very scared they might not do that play, but I hope that they will. And maybe Ureña gets it back and can figure it out by being in the bullpen, but like, why would you stop a guy that's doing so well and either send him down or just like not give him enough time? And Davis is good. We need pitchers. Like we're gonna need our new like core. Who knows how Senzatella is gonna like heal and be, and oh man, it would be so great if Davis stayed.
Yeah, no, that would be wonderfully right. You don't want to kill that momentum, and I think going on the opening day roster, I was a little surprised that they chose to keep both Ty Blach and Connor Siebold. Blach, he earned his spot. He was great in spring training. He's your long guy. And then you kept another long reliever, and you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And you realize like, yeah, they see some things we don't necessarily. Ureña obviously struggling. You need 2 long relievers. Well, when Senzatella comes back, I don't think they'll bring him back if he's like a 4-inning guy. He needs to be able to competently go at least 5 innings.
Yeah.
But if he has a rough go of it, and you're gonna run him out there every 5 days, you're still gonna need 2 long relievers. So again, Ty Blach, José Ureña. So Ureña could, they could still have him long if need be at that point. Maybe Connor Siebold comes up, but Ureña could be fine as a long reliever in that instance. Because anytime you're going to the long reliever, you're already losing that game for the most part. And if you're not, you need someone to eat up the innings regardless.
Right? Yeah, somebody's got to pitch him anyway. And with him and Gomber both struggling, I don't know. One of them seems like they should end up out there.
Anyone but Davis.
Anyone but Davis. Yeah.
A, B, D. We were close there. We'll figure that out.
Okay. We'll come up with a better
Anyone
hashtag.
but canceling Davis. A, B,
Yes,
C, D.
there it is.
We'll
We'll keep working it.
We'll workshop that one. Yes. I don't need to workshop my segues, although technically right there, that wasn't very good. But game time tickets, look, that's the spot to go if you need tickets, especially if you want to wait closer to the start of an event, because with game time tickets, 60 minutes before the start of an event, you can get your tickets. So some of these ticket brokers or people who just can't go to a game and have to cancel last minute, you can go in, get their tickets for like up to 60% off the face value of it. And now when you use promo code DNVR, you're going to get 20% off with code DNVR, 20% off your first purchase at game time. So basically, you might even be able to like go to an entire Rockies series with like, your entire family for $20. The way Rockies tickets are being dropped down drastically and dramatically, using code DNVR in game time is probably a really great option. You can click the link in our description as well to make it easy and join over the 15 million folks who've downloaded the Game Time app and who've scored the best seats to all their favorite events. Shady Rays is our favorite sunglass company. It's an independent company that has a lost or broken guarantee. It's amazing. If you lose your glasses, they will just give you a new pair. Just let them know. If you break them, they'll also hook you up with a brand new pair. And now when you use code DNVR, you can buy one, get one free. You can also go to the Park Meadows Mall if you want to actually try the glasses on, see how they fit your face. Buy 2 or more polarized sunglasses, get those for 50% off. But if you don't like going outside, don't like doing that, you're a busy person, you can order a bunch of sunglasses if you want. Try them out for a day or 2, see which ones you like, send them back within 30 days, you get a free refund. So if you've got a face that maybe doesn't work with certain sunglass types, get a bunch, no harm, no foul. You can return it. It's fantastic. It's Shady Rays. The shades rated 5 stars by over 200,000 folks. CJ Cron had the home run in the first there on Thursday. Got things started off the right way, which was nice to see. Hit that one off of Matt Strom. He's been really impressive. He's probably been the Phillies' best pitcher. Not bad for a guy who hasn't started regularly since 2019.
Yeah. So that was even better that the Rockies could break that 8-game skid against them.
Yeah, the long flow. Yeah, that was what I thought was it was going to be Noah Davis's luck. Like, oh, my second start. All right, I had a guy throwing a perfect game against me. Now I'll get a fresh start. Oh no, son, you got to stop a 9-game losing streak, because if we lose 10 in a row, I think that would have been only the 6th time the Rockies have ever lost 10 or more in a row.
Only 6, yeah.
But he didn't have to deal with that, thankfully, because Feltner was really good. Cron got them started off the early home run against Strom, who struck out 11 in 5 1/3 innings pitched, leads the Phillies rotation in ERA and WHIP. He's from North Dakota.
Interesting.
Yes. Noelle, how many players in MLB right now are from North Dakota, do you think?
That's fascinating. 3.
You are off by so much. It's 2.
Dang it.
You're off by 50%.
All right.
That's how far off.
That
now.
is so
yeah,
far
you're
away.
Right, you were right there too. Eric Swanson. I think he's still with Seattle right now.
Okay.
Born in North Dakota, but he went to high school in Ohio. So I mean, technically, you could even just say there's one true. There was only one ever Rocky born and raised in North Dakota.
I don't know.
I pride myself on being able to look at a name and know.
Yeah.
Tim Olson does not stand out to me.
Oh.
3 games, three pinch hit appearances, and I don't think he got a hit in any of those. Yes, so he
All
never
right.
started or played the field.
Wow,
He's the Moonlight
what a
Graham
weird
of the Colorado Rockies,
situation.
Tim Olson.
Yeah. Okay, so then you get a pass on not knowing where,
I think
where
so.
he's from.
All right, how about South Dakota? Are there any active players right now from South Dakota?
I mean, I would guess the same amount too.
None.
None.
Now, Sean Doolittle
many
is from North
states?
Dakota. He's
Okay.
on the comeback trail, so,
Okay, so
can't
he could be
necessarily
back.
count him yet. He could. Before Doolittle, though, we haven't had a player from South Dakota since 2017. So North
Interesting.
Dakota is the baseball hotbed of the Dakotas.
Dakotas.
So if you're saying, hey, this guy's from the Dakota, you're like, must be from North.
Obviously.
Obviously,
Okay. Well,
he's a
now I
North
know
guy.
that, and I feel like a better person.
Now we all know that, right?
exactly.
Now that's a fact.
Yeah.
Mark Ellis.
Oh
Remember
yeah.
Mark Ellis? Mm-hmm. Only South Dakotan to play with the Rockies.
Interesting.
That's
Okay.
it.
I remember Marcellus.
Some great obscure information there.
Really good to know.
What's not obscure, maybe less obscure. Again, if you follow the Hartford Yard Goats, you know the name Jeff Dooley. That was wonderful. That he was on Friday's show with Suzie. It was great for Duels to get the call up, man, going from AA to the big leagues, calling games on the radio on KOA this weekend with Jerry Schemmel. He was absolutely amazing doing that, and he's not the only Hartford Yard Goat. Susie's technically also a Yard Goat. We'll
Yeah.
throw her in.
Yeah.
There was a whole
Yeah,
Yard
yeah.
Goats reunion there
In Philly.
in Philly
As you would.
this weekend, and it's only right that, of course, Suzie caught up and sat down a little bit more with the third base coach of the Colorado Rockies, the great Warren Schaefer.
Warren Schaefer, how are you doing? How is the new gig so far? A couple of series into the season.
Suze, thanks for having me. The gig's great. I love it. I get to work with a bunch of good infielders, good guys. They work hard. Yeah, I mean, the third deck is new. It's fun. Every night's fun here in the big leagues.
Yeah. There was a moment the other day where I watched and I kind of got goosebumps for you when you were on the field with Brendan Rodgers when he accepted his Gold Glove. Because I thought back and I'm like, you have been coaching this guy for such a long time at so many different levels. What was that moment like for you?
That was pretty cool. He asked me to be out there with him. I mean, I've had B-Rod since he was 18 years old in rookie ball, A ball, Double A. I saw him progress the whole way up, and he's really become a man over that time. And it's something special to watch. You love to see everybody grow like that, but B-Rod's pretty special to me.
But now you are here in the majors with all these guys that you've been working with for so long. I mean, what does that mean for you?
I love watching these guys grow. I mean, even Montero, I've only been with him a couple years, but just to get to know him and develop the relationship, and to see him blossom into a big leaguer, it's so much fun. Seeing Max since the time he was drafted in 2013, it's been a long time. To see these guys go from kids to boys to men, it's really exciting.
I mean, you're also not that much older than a lot of these guys, too. You're pretty young to be here.
I'm almost 40. I'm getting up there. I used to be younger.
Walk me through, what does a day look like for you here in the Rockies organization?
I go over the positioning with the team that we're playing. I spend a lot of time on that on the computer, and then after we're done with that, I just get to work with the boys, early work, defensive work, regular ground balls before BP, do my thing, then have a bunch of conversations, and just try to help develop the culture in the clubhouse. Just developing relationships all day, Suze, just like you and me.
Isn't that what we
you
all
know
do?
what I mean? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Is there a ballpark that you are visiting this season that you're most looking forward to now that you get to visit all these major league ballparks?
Yeah, the only one I've ever been in, I guess we played in Chase Field in the fall league, but growing up, I'm from Pittsburgh. I went to PNC Park. I played there in high school, and that's pretty special to me. But other than that, I haven't seen any of these parks, and they've all been awesome. I mean, this place here in Philly rocks at night. Seattle was awesome. San Diego was awesome. LA was very cool. I mean, all these places are nice. Coors Field's great, but I'm looking forward to seeing all of them. I'm a freshman. I get to see them all. I'm brand new. They're all brand new.
I love it. One more thing I want to check in on. Have any Philly fans said anything insane to you? Yelled anything from the stands?
No, I've heard I'm from Pittsburgh. I'm from across the state, so I've heard about Flyer fans and Philly fans and Eagle fans, but I appreciate them. I mean, I think that, any fans that love their town enough to come and support them and be loud like that, I mean, you have to respect that. I mean, I've always respected Philly fans, but in this stadium, it's the same as San Diego. I mean, it's so loud that like not one voice stands out. It's just a hum,
Wow, you kind of said something nice about Philly. A Pittsburgh guy saying something nice about Philly.
That's right. Yeah, I don't want to burn any bridges. Not yet.
You know you're on camera.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Warren Schaefer, thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, Susan, anytime.
Yeah, we're starting the list now. Joelle and I, Schaefer-isms, Schaefe-isms. He said, I used to be younger. True. That's I like that. I love that.
That's so good.
I feel like that might be applicable to so many of us in the world today.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the past. They don't think they were younger in the past. In the past.
I think it's so complicated.
It's very complicated.
Well, I think we could use that one as we get less younger.
Yes,
all the time.
I used to be younger. Yes. Those were the days.
Yep.
Attendance is something that you also recently wrote about over on Purple Row. You can check out some of Joelle's articles, besides on Purple Row, but in the link to this in our podcast description as well. But attendance, you've noticed a bit of a trend here through the first homestand for the first two series this season, right?
Yeah. So my first game, the only game I've been to so far was the Tuesday game against the Cardinals. And I got one of those Blake Street Steel ticket things. So first level, which was nice, like $17 tickets.
Oh, nice.
Pretty nice. But we were like looking around, how come these are all empty? Like, what is going on? This is the fifth game at home, and there was nobody there. So, and the ones that were there, like a good third are Cardinals fans.
Yeah.
So it was not what I imagined it was going to be. I thought we'd at least, and it was 80 degrees at
Arenado,
first pitch in the beginning of April, and Arenado still, so it just felt different. So it'll be interesting to watch for the rest of the year because it is a very small sample size.
Yes.
But I do think the Rockies could be in for some lower attendance.
Yeah, I know it's lower attendance, and yet half the league is looking at Colorado going like, gosh, we would kill for this kind of attendance. What are you doing right? And it's like, actually not anything. It just happens to be in a great sports town with a stadium that's been kept up really nice. You can give the Rockies credit for that.
Yep.
But, at a certain point, a lot of people are just going to Coors Field, for the vibes and just to be around baseball. There's usually at least one pretty good team there. At least one.
At least one.
Some days there's two. Some days two end up showing up, but it's about the experience, and with games going by a little bit quicker too.
Yeah,
I think that makes it a more favorable ticket because you're going to end up seeing the whole game, and you're not going to leave early. Which again, it's fine if that's what you do. Yeah, it's your prerogative. But now you're like, hey, you know what? It's going to be shorter. I will be able to stick around the whole time, and 2 hours and 25 minutes. It's like going to the movies now.
Yeah. It goes by really fast.
Although parking is a little bit more expensive around Coors Field than at the movie theater. Little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, just some popcorn.
Just a little bit. We saw this weekend Charlie Blackmon back in the leadoff spot. That was another thing you wrote about this off season, kind of some of the different scenarios that we could see as the leadoff hitter. Does Colorado right now, you think they have, I don't want to say good leadoff hitter options because it's one guy. It's right. It's a role for one guy to have. Maybe that in and of itself is kind of the problem right now with them.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. I wonder if we'll ever have a go-to leadoff hitter, if we're just kind of in a different lineup every day kind of place. Obviously, Charlie was that for a long time, and he was the fun power hitting leadoff hitter. We kind of thought maybe Profar when he got here, but now I don't know. It doesn't feel like we have a true one. I don't know if. Once we get Veen, if they'll put him into that spot, and then that could be so fun.
That's that. I don't think you saw my note, but that's what I had in there. I said, is Veen just really going to be that next guy?
I mean, right?
That could be. And if you have to mix and match, I mean, I can't say I honestly go through box scores of other teams to see what they're doing. I don't know that you
either.
need your number one. Again, it's just what's your best lineup of the day.
Yeah.
Well, we got to have a great leadoff hitter because that's. I mean, I think if anything, that's one of the least important roles. I mean, think about it. Your best hitter used to be third, and now you go, I want my best hitter to have the most at bats, so let's bat him second. And then you had the Yankees last year, Judge's like leading off.
Right.
Kyle Schwarber's leading off. You're like, that's not a leadoff hitter.
Trey Turner's hitting second.
Forget it. You get the most at bats batting leadoff.
Yeah.
What even is a leadoff hitter necessarily? So, you know, maybe the Rockies just need to be creative in that way and just say, look, let's just run it down so our best hitters get the most at bats. Each spot that you go down in the order over the course of the season, that's 15 extra plate appearances. So, you know, going from like Daza, say, hitting second versus, you know, hitting seventh, that's 75 plate appearances less that he gets from being dropped down. So
So maybe in a couple series we'll see Diaz hitting second because he'll be our best hitter. That'll be crazy.
Leading off, Jason Kendall. Why not?
Yeah, right.
That's a good question. See, we got to go back to Stathead and how many catchers have ever led off. Have you ever had a catcher
it cannot
lead
be
off?
that many.
I would think maybe even never.
Right. I can't think of any.
Let's see if
That would be fascinating.
Let me see. I'll have to ask you a very deep and in-depth life question that will force you to ponder for 20 minutes. And then while you're doing that, I try to find it. We could do that. Or I could just ask you about, fittingly today, with the some of the issues that we had in trying to watch this game live, AT&T Sportsnet, part of Bally Sports Group or Sports Network, kind of all those RSNs having some issues. I know you wrote about that. What's kind of been your thought? Where do you think this ends up playing out? Are you worried about, you know, everything seems to be okay so far.
Everything's okay so far.
Only slight inconvenience for us today, so we're not complaining.
Right,
but
not AT&T's fault.
Yeah, but could we get to a point in which you can't, there's nowhere you can watch the games? Like it's like a Nuggets-Avs situation?
Right?
I don't know.
Where we just live in a populated city with 4 major sports teams and most people can't watch them most of the time. That would be really depressing. I feel like baseball cannot let that happen. I hope they don't let it happen. Or we all go back to and pretend it's 1940 and we're only listening to things on the radio. I don't know, that could be a world that we end up living in. But for me, I'm like, I just love the AT&T folks. Like I love Drew Goodman and Houston and Jenny Kavanaugh and Spilly and Sullivan. And I hate what they're probably going through. Like, do I have a job tomorrow? And they have to think about that every day.
Wow.
So that sucks for them. And I hope that we get to see them because they do a great job. And it'd be such a loss. And we are, we're talking about the attendance, talking about less concessions, less time in a game. The Rockies are already losing money in all of those areas.
Right.
And I think if you cut out TV, it's not a huge moneymaker, but it does bring in enough to get by. So I don't know. I hope they do the right thing.
And what's weird too is if you say, oh, the Rockies are going to have to make cutbacks. Well, they can kind of cut back from the roster a little bit. It's nice in theory to have an owner that spends money. In theory. But, and I can't speak for you, but I'll ask, would you have rather signed a left fielder for $7.75 million, or would you rather have had that money maybe invested in analytics, or even half that money invested in the analytics department?
I would pick analytics. Yeah, that seems like a real nice choice.
It's a very nice way of putting that, for sure.
No more really big $1 million deals to people that are over 30, like in injury prone, possibly.
Yeah.
So, better money management, even if that means spending just a little less.
Sure.
Totally work.
You look at the Tampa Bay Rays, and they're an extreme example too, because it's just a lot of roster turnover, and I get it if you don't want that, but at the same time, you don't need to spend money to have a really good roster.
Yeah.
Also, you could spend money and have a not so good roster. And we're seeing that right now. So
I
don't know. The Rockies are just kind of in a spot right now too, where if you say, oh, if they're losing money, they're gonna have cutbacks. It can't get worse. It seems like, in a sense, right? I mean, unless ticket prices start to go up, and then But I don't see them doing that.
I don't think so either.
I don't see them doing that.
Yeah. I do think they want people to come to Coors Field.
I think so.
And they're already going to have a hard enough challenge without raising prices.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't think a catcher has ever hit leadoff for the Rockies.
Okay.
My quick little search on Stathead turned up 12 times in which a catcher was in the leadoff spot, but I I think they were substituted
double
in.
switch. Yeah.
The only time someone had more than one plate appearance as a catcher or that played catcher at some point in that game was Neifi Perez on June 7th, 1998. And if you know your weird and strange history of the Colorado Rockies, that was a game in which Kurt Manwaring started at catcher. Jeff Reed came in as a defensive replacement. Those guys caught like every single game for 2 straight seasons without going on the IL. Reed got taken out at home plate. And so they had 1 out to go. Hey, Neifi, you want to catch? He lasted all of 1 pitch. They intentionally walked a guy. Larry Walker played third base and second base in that inning. 1 pitch, wild pitch, run scored for the Angels. Game over. So technically Neifi Perez, but no, not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
Exactly.
So,
doesn't count at all.
All right, that's your hot take of the day. Elias Diaz, leadoff hitter once this season.
Let's do it. Why
I've
not?
heard crazier things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to watch that game.
It's supported by evidence.
Yeah. So much evidence.
That's it. Do you have do you know the email address to the analytics department's iPad?
No.
You might have to send something in, Joelle.
I know. I will.
I think.
I'll reach out.
You are at Joelle Milholm on Twitter, right?
I am.
Reach out, and of course, always make sure you're checking out her business over there at Purple Row. It's amazing. Look at that. We even got our things right down on the bottom there. Follow Suzie.
That's awesome.
Follow myself at Patrick D. Lyons at DNVR_Rockies, of course, is where we have plenty of fun, regardless, win, lose, or draw. Although a draw, actually, it would be an upgrade in some of these games.
That would be an upgrade.
Can we have that? Maybe I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's been one of the weirdest, not arguments, but that's been one of the weirdest suggestions I've heard some people say, like, well, what if we had a draw? I'd rather that than a runner on second base in extra innings.
Wow. I would not, but yeah.
Nah. I don't think so.
No, we
I
don't
don't
like
think
dice.
so.
No.
But I think this has been momentous, as always. But unfortunately, the thing that people like to say, probably even Warren Schaefer, I may have even gotten this from him, if we're talking about Schaefisms.
Right.
But what they say about momentum and podcasts, it's only as good as your next show. So, of course, we will talk to you tomorrow at 1 p.m. here on the DNVR Sports Channel on YouTube.